Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. My God, is March busy for us. This is the second one in the matter of a few weeks, actually. And we have 5 movies stuffed into this monster sized episode for you guys today. So starting us off, we will be taking a look at the new Mark Wahlberg movie Arthur the King, followed up with the latest Blumhouse film Imaginary, a new Shudder movie surprisingly worming its way into theaters rather than being dumped on the app, Late Night with the Devil, and then after that we have the uh, surprising sequel to Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, introducing a lot more new characters to this franchise and much to be seen in the future. And then rounding off our very, very late night, we finished off with the absolutely zero marketed movie Snack Shack. Saw absolutely nothing from this. It couldn't be further off the radar from us. But we saw it was playing and we figured why not. So, Mr. Isaac, without further ado, let us roll into Arthur the King, and please
Yep.
bless us with a description of this fine film.
All right. Desperate for one last chance to win, Michael Light convinces a sponsor to back him and a team of athletes for the Adventure Racing World Championship in the Dominican Republic. As the team gets pushed to the outer limits of endurance, a dog named Arthur comes along for the ride, redefining what victory, loyalty, and friendship truly means.
Wow.
That's actually
Beautiful.
a pretty good descriptor of the movie. Like, actually.
It is. It is. And best thing about it, based on a true story. This
Yeah.
really happened. Man is
Yeah,
doing
this
a
thing really happened.
triathlon in Dominican Republic, and this stray dog just like starts following him through this jungle, like over cliffs, through canyons and shit. Like he's literally just like you were 200 miles that way, and we had to zip line over, and like, how are you here? We
Yeah,
don't know.
like it
We
was
don't know.
wild.
And he finished him to the end. If you are a dog lover, this is definitely the movie for you. It's up there with like Marley and Me and other example of like just classic dog movies. It's joined the pantheon of the dog movie. You know, like any movie
Yeah,
that
it
has a
absolutely
dog in it could be
has.
a quote unquote dog movie. But this is like something that, like, if you're just like a
Oh,
die-hard dog person, you gotta
this
see it.
movie's this movie is just very inspirational as well. Like it's because the big like selling point of the movie, well, not really selling point, but the thing that's constantly brought up throughout the movie is suffering. Like suffering through the hardship
Yeah,
that they're doing to like come out on the other side. And
yeah,
like
like
it
all the hard work you gotta tough it out.
Yeah, it was also like, first of all, like, even ignoring, first off, ignoring the whole dog side of this race is insane. Like, the fact that this is a thing that actually exists is both really cool and just utterly like baffling in the sense that
Right?
it actually exists,
Because
because
it
like
takes
they
place
cover,
over
I think,
like days.
5 days. Like 5
Yeah.
days. It's like a five, like they finished that race in 5 days and 13 hours, and I want to say they covered something like almost like 4,000 miles total or something like that. Or I don't
hmm
remember. No, I think that doesn't sound
It
right,
was
but
only
I think
like
it did.
it was only like 200 or 300 miles before they even like found the dog again.
Yeah, and that was like there were like I think there was like 9 different stop points, and it was like 200 miles between the first one and like the third one where they found it, like around where they found him again.
Yeah.
So like that was like, and like the I do like the idea that it's a race with no clear track. Like I like the
Yeah.
idea of a race like that. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Like you have to hit these designated points along this route, but you do not have to necessarily follow the route we give you. Like make your
Right.
own path, hit these points and then make it to
Take
the end. Like
shortcuts.
it was like it encourages you to kind of be a little risky, but also at the same time like it's at your own risk. Like it was really interesting, and also like
Yeah.
everyone in the group was having their own issues as well, and like they all
Hmm.
kind of just rally around this dog that they found. Like he really just quickly becomes like a part of their team, like a very vital part of their team. He even saves that one dude's life. He even saves Leo's life at one point.
Yeah.
Like this was a very inspirational movie, just from a standpoint of like the testament to what human beings can endure, on top of like the compassion and camaraderie that human beings can have as well.
Right. And I've definitely picked that up in the movie where they kind of have like their own goals as to why they want to win. Cause like for the main character, Michael, he wants it like this is his last shot and he messed it up the first time or like last time and now he's like getting too old to keep doing this. The other guy wants it for like Instagram likes and stuff, and the girl wants it because her dad's dying of cancer, so she's doing it for him. But then at the end, they're all just like, sorry, they throw like their personal stuff aside for the greater good.
Yeah.
Like I like to enter spoiler territory. At the end when they're doing like the final like kayak race and Arthur's like swimming out after them, I flat out was not expecting Leo to just say fuck it, yeah, we're turning around to get the dog, cuz he was very like, oh, we're right there, we can beat him, and like he like snapped like, yeah, you know what, we're going back for the dog, like right into place. And I was like impressed cuz like I didn't think he was going to do that.
I do like staying in spoiler territory. The thing I like about it as well is like they came in second. They didn't win because they went back for Arthur, but they still
But
came in second.
they won. They
They
won
won. They won.
in the hearts. They
Well, not
became,
only that,
yeah.
like even the dude, like the team that won, the leader of that team, like they were talking to him like at some point after the race, and he legitimately looked at them and said, "That race was yours to win. Like you guys had us. Like you were going to win."
Yeah, they
Like
said if you didn't turn around to go for the dog, you would have won. We wouldn't have had a chance.
yeah, exactly. Like it was such a good moment, and like just the movie as a whole was just great from start to finish. And
Yeah,
like the ending, even though like this is a real story, like it's not a widely known story, obviously, or else they wouldn't have made the movie, you know.
right.
And like I you know what kind of movie, you know what movie I want to like thank for movies like this being made, because I like movies like this. They're very motivational and like inspirational. And you know what the
Yeah.
first one that I can remember ever watching is, and it's the first one, I can't think of one further back, was when Dolphin Tale came out.
Mm,
Like that movie, like I can't think of many before it, but like that's definitely the first one that I can think of going back. Like that really opened the floodgates. Like they made that movie and it did good, and it made a and it like so like now they're searching out these amazing stories in the world to immortalize on the silver screen, and I'm totally here for it. I like these kind of movies.
nice. Mm, the film itself, I think
Hmm.
one of the strongest scenes is the zipline scene
Yes.
because
Oh,
even
that
though
scene was so good.
clearly they're not going to die,
Hmm.
when the girl gets her zipline stuck and Mark Wahlberg has to like declip his carabiner off the zipline, swing around her, reclip it, and then she has to latch onto his bike. So it's
Oh my
literally like a
gosh.
barrel of monkeys of him, his bike, her bike dangling from a single zip line, and they have
And
to
it wasn't even like the zipline anchor either. It was on a single carabiner clip
right.
too at that point.
Um, like the tension in that scene could not have been better. Like this was like
Oh,
one of
absolutely.
the first, like this was the first or second um what's it like obstacle really in the film.
Yeah.
Um so you knew they weren't going to die. It was only like 30-40 minutes into the film by the time they hit that, so nothing bad was really going to happen. But like you
But like
still
the
had
tension was really
that
good.
tension and pressure to the point where even when they were like saved and like they got to the other side and it moved on to the next scene, you still hadn't calmed down yet. Your heart was still like all tense and pressured from that, and like it just wouldn't, like I was waiting to
You,
like call like oh okay, and then it would settle down, but no, I just went like whoo, and then it was still, my chest was still like tense and tight after the whole thing. I think that was a
when
perfect scene.
when you have to condense something like this, like something as massive as this race and this like down into X amount of hours, it can be very tricky to because you're moving really quickly through the thing. Like, because there were times like they showed on the map where they just kind of sped through, and sometimes they skipped over like complete
Oh,
sections
they're
of the
in a
race.
jungle. Most of it is just
Yeah.
them walking through grass or running
No,
through
yes,
grass.
but what I'm trying to say is that it's very hard to depict the struggle, like how arduous this is, but like they did a very good job of portraying just how grueling this whole thing was. Like it's
Hmm.
very
Like,
like because they're joking and laughing at the same time while they're doing this, but like they're in pain for almost all of this. Like it
right. And
is,
they give you like the times, like how long they have to rest, how long they've been running for. Like they'll show you the maps, like they'll show you where they started and when they went and how many miles that is. So they really like this does what a lot of movies like this don't do, is like keep you up to date on like how they're doing in their progress, like where they are in the race, how much they have left, how long they've been doing this for, how long they traveled. Like they keep
yeah.
you on top of that, which I liked.
The only thing that confused me, like majorly confused me, but I eventually got it, was like they kept saying that if you had got an IV, it was like a 4 hour penalty. Like they would penalize you 4 hours on your thing.
Yeah,
I'm
I
starting to think
thought
it's
no, I know
yeah,
how it is. So here, so
yeah.
I assumed that it would have been like, oh, you take the IV, but like when you get to the finish line, they'll take 4 hours off your thing. It's like, no, if you stop at one of like the medical tents, and if you take an IV, they make you and your team stay there for 4 hours to make sure that the IV kicks in and does what it needs to. Like they
See, and that's
hold
the
you there
crazy
for four
thing.
hours.
At the end of that 4 hours, uh that was when the team that was behind them that they were try that they like the very next team. They were the first ones at that station. At the end of that 4 hours, that was when that next team just came in.
Well, yeah,
Like
they
they were
said like,
leaving, like right as everyone else was coming in.
well, yeah, they were because they were surprised that they were in first place, and then the medics are like, "Yeah, by a lot, I hear."
Yeah, like so they had the time for it. Like Like if they wouldn't have done that and would have just gone, they would have won by miles. But like that was another good point, like a good teamwork moment because like they took the thing to take care of Leo because like he was dehydrated and everything. Like Leo wanted to
Dying.
push through. Like he's like, give me some water and give me like 25 minutes and we'll keep going. And he's like, no, we're gonna you take care of you kind of thing. Like the main character really went through a big arc in this movie and it was very well. But
Yeah.
we've been we've been talking on this movie for a little while. So
Mhm.
do
Very
you
good dog
you got
movie.
any
Highly recommend.
very good dog movie, very good teamwork
Let
movie as well.
Yeah,
Like that was also
exactly.
very good too. Like
Um,
it kind of was like a bunch of different movies mashed into one, but I don't really have much else to say about this. Do you?
not especially other than yeah, he was such a good boy.
He was a good boy. He was the bestest boy.
It's true. Now let's take this
But
bestest boy over to the rankings.
absolutely. Why don't you kick us off, sir?
All right, so I gave this a very high 7, almost an 8, but very high 7. It's not something that's like so good I would want to buy it on DVD and have a copy of it myself, which that's usually in my rankings. An 8 or above is something that I definitely going to buy on DVD. But so I think this is just like a little bit below that, but I definitely think it is a good movie that other people should check out, especially if they're really into dogs.
Absolutely. Me, this is another movie that it broke the 8 barrier for me. Like it's an 8. I'm gonna give this movie an 8. Like
Nice.
it's like just above an 8 for me because this was just I was choking up at times and just the inspiration that this movie has is just so powerful and palpable through the screen that like I can't help but love it.
Moving on to Imaginary. Isaac, if you could take us away with the description.
Absolutely. Just give me one moment because my phone's being weird. Here we go. When Jessica moves back into her childhood home with her family, her youngest stepdaughter, Alice, finds a stuffed bear named Chauncey. As Alice's behavior becomes more and more concerning, Jessica intervenes only to realize that Chauncey is much more than the stuffed toy bear she believed him to be. Way to
Is that
make
it?
this movie sound way more interesting than it actually is.
If I could summarize this movie in 2 words, it would be don't and bother.
Yeah. Like actually,
This,
we watched two movies today with like evil bears in it, and this was the worst one, surprisingly.
yeah. Um, it was boring.
It really was. It was very, very boring. Like all the cool things that you saw in the trailer, like happen in the last 20 minutes of this freaking movie.
Yeah.
Like it was super,
I think
super dull.
was is Blumhouse trying to do like PG horror now because like nothing's like good.
There was one death. There was
There was
one death in the
one
whole movie.
death and everything else was there were 2 jump scares and 1 death and then the rest was just like actually nothing. It was literally
Yeah, like
nothing.
honestly, you know what's crazy? You know what? If Blumhouse really just went balls to the wall and made this movie rated R, they could have done so much better stuff. So much better stuff.
Right. There's where do I even begin? There's so many fucking
Oh my
flaws with this
god.
movie.
There is like a
Um
lot.
there's characters that are introduced only to vanish and never be seen from again with no plot relevance. There are conversations and like information that's given to you that's never used again. It feels like it feels like they took half the movie from like an original script where they had like something planned out, and then they're like, oh wait, we can't do any of that, and then so they chopped it together with a new script where they didn't do anything with it. Because
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Like this was just.
one
Oh my
one
god, it
point
was
that
just so
like
bad.
tipped me off the most was the dad. Um, the dad himself, terrible. He's not in the movie. He's there at the beginning, basically to explain why this black woman's daughters are not black, and it's because she's a stepmom and she's connected to the girls through this guy. And that's the only reason I can think, because he's not in the movie again. He
He's also
literally
there
he's
to
like,
trick you into thinking the movie will like do cooler things than it actually will.
right? So literally like 20 minutes into the movie, he puts on his beanie and takes his like French horn case and he says, "Bye, I'm off on my 28-man ska band tour." And then he just leaves.
Yeah,
And I'm
he
like,
does.
okay, okay." Like he doesn't even come back like for the ending at all,
Like
and
they
it's like, and they
the
lived
only other
happily ever
time
after without the dad. The
the
end.
only
I mean,
other
he
time
comes
that they
back. He
like
comes
the only
back
other
in
time
like
that
the imaginary world as he's like a fake out, like a fake dad,
yeah,
but like
not
the
your dad.
actual character is not here at all. But the worst thing about it is that like he spends several minutes in like two separate conversations throughout the film talking about his imaginary friend from when he was a kid called Mr. Tough. Great name, by the way, but he was a kid. Uh, and he was super muscly and he could make a bomb out of anything. Like he had two different conversations about that character that he made up with two different characters in the movie. And I'm thinking, oh, I see where this is going from a mile away. So at the end, when they have to do the big fight uh, with the imaginary bear monster, they're gonna be like, we will use our imaginary friends to fight this imaginary monster, and then they all summon their friends, and then they all fight and destroy the monster. Uh, no, that doesn't happen at all, because A, the
No, it doesn't.
dad's out of the movie, and B, they don't do that thing I said at all. They don't. So like that's clearly where this should have gone, is like help from
Yes.
other imaginary friends, because the old hag lady, she said that like, oh, this one was bad but normally they're good, so that would give you a perfect out for, the good ones to come in and fight the bad one, but they don't. And then when they go to the fucking imaginary world, because the fucking Alice girl, I'm gonna rant about this. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be dominating this one, dude. I have so like
Oh,
much
I'm
to say
letting
about
you.
this shit. Okay, good.
Before you go any further,
Let
before
me
you go any
cook.
further,
Let me cook. So the fucking imaginary friend bear Chauncey doesn't even, turns out, spoiler alert, doesn't even want Alice, the little girl, who can't act, by the way. She's just bait to get the stepmom back, because the bear was the stepmom's original uh imaginary friend. It's like, you abandoned me, so I want to take you and keep you here forever, right? So fucking they go into the imaginary world, and there's a fucking room full of presents and like treats, and the little girl's dressed up like a princess and got like her crazy mom that she's not allowed to see anymore. She's back and she's fine and everything's perfect. It's like a little happy dreamland that she made up in her head. And then just like, we gotta get out of here. And she's like, no, I have everything. Why would I want to go? And then the mom and the stepmom's just like, we will use the power of our own imagination to create something. And I'm like, it's like, we have power in here. Imagination has power. And I'm like, oh, good. This is the interesting part of this. Cause like, think back to Fairly Odd Parents, the episode with Imaginary Gary when they're doing the fight inside Timmy's brain. Remember that?
Best episode. I love that episode so
Yeah,
much.
remember when they're just like, I have this, and he brings like the Lego walls, and he's got the monkeys and the this and then that and then that, and they're just creating stuff from their brain to fight each other with. I thought they were gonna be doing more of that, because this is the imagination world. You can literally anything you can imagine could be here, but no, they just make another door, another way out, and they do that by just taking all the blue stuff in the room and then just like sticking it onto the wall.
Hmm.
And then as soon as the door's made, the little girl, she's just like, "Yeah, I want to go. I don't want to be here anymore." I'm like, Why? Why? What happened in the last like 8 seconds that you went from I want to stay here forever. I have everything I could ever want. This is paradise." To now I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. This place stinky, yucky. I hate it. I never want to come back here. The end. Why? I don't understand that jump. Um,
Yeah, no, like it was
but
it was complete
the
180.
but the reason that they want the stepmom is because like her imagination is like so powerful. Like she's got the greatest imagination ever, and like they'll feed off of it, or like they're fueled by it or something. But like, bro, she made a bear. And not like a
Yeah.
bear monster. She didn't imagine the bear monster. It just became that over time, I think, or took on a scarier form. She made a teddy bear. A teddy bear was her imaginary friend. Her imagination's so great. She conjured up something that could be found for 1.99 at Goodwill. I'm like, bro, really? Really? You have like she's like they keep going on about she's like she has the greatest imagination. Your imagination's so powerful. It's so grand and magnificent. And then she make like just a bear. That's it. That's what you made. And it's not even like she uses it more in there cuz she made a door. She made the door out. I mean, yeah, she wanted to leave, I guess, but then she gets like pulled back in and then she's stuck in there and then but like she still doesn't do anything. She doesn't use her imagination at all. It's very ironic to me that for a movie called Imaginary about imaginary friends and having imagination would be created by a team of people with zero imagination.
Yeah, like that
I'm
was
I'm actually
oh
looking forward to the movie If because we might get another crack at at a decent imaginary friend movie. Because by the looks of it so far, the character design is definitely, they have that up over imaginary. Because
oh my
okay,
god,
after
yes.
Night Swim, which was terrible, not as bad as this. This was definitely worse than Night Swim. You can quote me on that. Um, but I've been kind of waking up to the fact that unless Blumhouse is like teamed up with someone or has like a source material like their original stuff like they're like it's like this is our own original story that we made it's gonna be shit. It's gonna be shit. I'm sorry. It is Five Nights at Freddy movie that was pretty cool, but you had like the creator working hand in hand with you the whole time to make sure everything's fine.
You had
Blum,
Scott Cawthon with a gun to your head.
right.
It's kind of
uh
hard to mess it up.
in the coming years, they're going to be working with Todd McFarlane to make a Spawn movie, but Todd McFarlane is writing and directing it. So, like, they have that. Black Phone was really good, but they were also working in partnership with Universal. It wasn't just them.
Mhm.
But like all this stuff, like the bi-monthly Blumhouse horror movie. Like I said this to you in the car and you thought like I bet you thought it was just an insult, but it was a revelation to me. Like I woke up and I realized this. Blumhouse is white girl horror.
Yes, that is
It's
perfect.
white girl horror. Like like the the oh my god bitches like them. It's the kind of chicks that are just like they don't like horror movies. They just want an excuse to be like that. Oh my god, and then they jump and cling on their boyfriends. Like that's that. Oh, it was so scary. No, the fucking teddy bear just jumped up at the scream and then they played a loud noise. It's not scary. It's fucking annoying. And the plot is dumb. And all the characters are dumb and all the acting is bad. The only two positive things I can say about this is that A, the jingle is actually catchy. It got stuck in my head the whole time. That was the only thing that kept this movie in my mind up until going to see it. And fucking the twist in the movie, who fucking cares? It turns out that the teddy bear that the girl is carrying around, the teddy bear itself is imaginary. And that's a twist
Mhm.
because the whole time the mom could see it and she thought like, oh, she's pretending the teddy bear's alive. But it's like, no, she's pretending a teddy bear's there. So and everyone else is like, what teddy bear? There's never a teddy bear. She's holding nothing. That's what imaginary is. And I'll say I didn't see that coming. However, I was not at an investment level to care at all. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, we knew that the we knew that the Chauncey character is like real. We knew like the imaginary friend was a monster and real.
Mhm.
Like that was the thing, like supernatural. So it wasn't like that surprising because it's just like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but like, why? Like we already know it's not in their head. Okay, we know this.
Mhm.
With there just wasn't really a significance to the plot twist. It wasn't a plot twist. It was just like a information twist, I guess.
Yeah,
Did it
like
matter? Did it matter whether the
no,
teddy bear itself was seen by the stepdaughter or the husband or the psychiatrist? Did that matter at all? Did that change anything?
no, it did not. It absolutely did not.
Not really.
This movie was just boring. It was boring and disappointing, and there's not much else like I have to say on it. Like it's just like because you've hit every point
It's just
that I
bad. It's super
sort of said.
disappointing. The only thing I was hoping for was interesting creature design because you find out most monster movies or most like horror movies, the creature has to be like confined to some kind of rules. Like if it's a ghost, it's gotta like make sense, okay? Like you gotta like align it to it's gotta be some kind of ghostly figure. If you're making like a if you're making like a monster creature, like oh this lived in a cave somewhere, it's gotta like feasibly appear like a biological thing. This is an imaginary monster. You could literally make it anything, literally anything, and you don't need to have any justification for it. You could have a seven-eyed uh traffic light monster with 14 spider legs with mechanical lobster claws on each leg and giant laser beam antenna coming out of its butthole and you can do that. You can do that. Any other movie, you would be like, that. Why does that? That doesn't make any sense. But this, it's literally imagination. It's like some kid, and it's kids' imagination. As a kid, dude, I was creating like all kinds of things. Like Just off the top of my head, I created a creature that was a cactus. It had no arms, two legs, one eye, a giant crown made out of thorns, and it could run at super speed. I made that for no reason. I came up with that for no reason, and then you could do anything. And what did they made? What did they make? What did they make? They made har 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 har. They made fucking Freddy Fazbear, dude. They made
Like
Freddy
best part of
Fazbear.
the that was the best part of the movie too, was that 9-note jingle.
It's 9 notes. That's the best part. Is that the little jingle that they have when you pull the teddy bear's cord is actually catchy. But it's hard to fuck up 9 notes. It's really hard. It's
You
very
know what
easy to fuck up this movie. Case in point, they did.
what makes me really sad about this? The movie, the budget for this movie was 10 to 12 million dollars, and it has grossed 32 million dollars.
Well,
I
that's
feel
not
so
sad.
bad for everyone that watched this.
That's what Blumhouse does. Is that they make super cheap horror movies, and like I said, they're mainstream horror, the white girl horror. This is not like the hardcore like slashers or like psychological horror fans that want to like really be scared on like a fear level. Like this is a like, oh my god, it's Saturday, there's a new spooky movie out, and then like you know what I mean when I say it's mainstream horror.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is like the ooh spooky, but it's not like actually going to scar you. Like if you took your 13-year-old or fucking 10-year-old kid to see Imaginary, he'd be like, "That was scary," and then like he'd be over it in like the next day. Like
Exactly.
I'll be honest. There are episodes of Doctor Who that are more actually scary, horrifying, like instilling fear than like the last three Blumhouse movies combined.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I know what those episodes are. Yeah, like I agree with you.
Yeah, and
All right.
like wow, just wow,
Yeah.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah. Let's
Moving
move on
over
to
the
the rankings
rankings.
before we
Moving
spend
over
more
the
time on this.
rankings. This is a fucking 3, dude. This is a 3. There was like a couple things that were okay, but other than that,
Yeah.
it was confusing, boring. They brought up shit that was like clearly they had the Chekhov's gun up on the mantle
Mhm.
and they've left it there.
Yeah.
They
They
left it there.
absolutely did.
It was
I'm
nothing.
also I'm also giving this movie a 3 as well, by the way. Like this, it was just nothing, a big nothing burger of a movie. Like it didn't hold intrigue. It didn't like do anything. Like it played, you know what this movie did? It tried to play it safe and grossly undershot the mark. Like
Yeah. 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 And like the only two like big horror moments, I guess you could call it, they put them in the trailers.
Yeah.
They put them in the trailers. There's like only two bits where there's actually like the bear monster like doing a jump scare and doing a scary thing. And we've seen them already. So
Yeah,
what's the
like you weren't giving
point?
us
What
anything
was the
new.
point? You didn't do anything. It was literally nothing. God. I'm
Like
more just
that
like
was
angrily disappointed if anything.
yeah, me too.
I just feel bad because I'm
But
going to have like a predisposition of just like I'm just going to go in expecting Blumhouse movies to be bad.
yeah, cause see, after Black Phone, I was like there. My thought of them went up. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and they've shit the bed too many times in a row for me to think that they're doing good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
All right, moving on to a better movie, which is almost
Yes.
by default at this point. We have Late Night with the Devil. Now, right off the bat, the two most interesting things about this is that it's a Shudder movie, which is interesting because
Hmm.
Shudder movies are well, first of all, it's a streaming service, so it's interesting that they made it to the big screen in the first place. Um, and the second cool thing is that the main character is, I'm gonna butcher his name, but David Dastmalchian. I wish he had a easier
Uh,
last name to say because I'm actually really digging this character or this actor. I mean, most notably as he was the Russian guy in the Ant-Man movies. He was the first mate on Last Voyage of the Demeter, and he was Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie. Um,
mhm.
but the cool thing is that I don't uh, believe, at least in our experience, we've seen him in a leading role before. He's usually been a side character, and most often than not, one that dies. Um,
Oh yeah, like I've also seen him cause the amount of TV
'cause
I
he was
watch and
in,
everything.
yeah.
Like he was in the new MacGyver show that they did with Lucas Till. He played
Hmm.
his alter ego, not his alter ego, his uh super villain character, Murdoch. And he was
Hmm.
really good. Like he played a very good psychopath. Like he
Yeah.
does that very well.
Yeah, I think he's a very good actor, actually, and he dominated this role. I think that he had a very smooth, uh, snappy personality when he played as the late night TV host. Because he would say things like he would roll off into jokes and like do like a kind of like a very quick, very smooth transition kind of heyo kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it worked very well. Like I found some of
Yes.
the like late night talk show host um lines or jokes
Hmm.
like actually funny.
Yeah. To preface the whole late night host thing,
Oh yeah, I don't think we
this
read off
movie
the
is
description yet.
no, we did not. We blew
All right,
right
so
past
let's
it.
let's let's roll into that.
This
My apologies.
Yeah.
Let's do that first.
In 19 the movie is in 1977, a live television broadcast goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. And that's a pretty decent
Yeah, pretty fair.
descriptor for this.
Yeah, it's just
It
enough to get you
was
interested.
mhm. It's the whole premise of the movie is that this was uh a showing, like one specific show of a late night show that
It was the Halloween special,
it,
and it went awry.
yeah. Yeah, and they also had deleted scene footage. This movie, you know what's interesting about this? This is a new take on the found footage horror movie.
Well, that was
Like,
something
and I'm
that I brought up. So if I can
yeah.
take over real quick. So
Yeah.
this feels um like a VHS movie. If you've seen the VHS movies,
Mhm.
the first three were just random found footage movies by different people that were stuck together like a anthology. But the last three of them, 99, 94, and 85, those ones were done in partnership with Shudder. Um, and they really captured that vibe of the VHS movies, the later three. Um, when it comes down to the special effects, the themes, just the acting, just everything, it feels like a full movie length entry into the VHS series. Like if they shortened this to like 20-25 minutes, you could put it in like the next VHS movie and it would just perfectly
Mm-hmm.
seamlessly just be no one would even like think like, ooh, like that doesn't feel right there. It feels like it should be a bigger movie. Like it feels like a VHS movie in that franchise, and I
Yeah, it
love
does.
that franchise except for the third movie. But like it captured that vibe very, very well.
It very much did. Uh, this it was like you said. It was about time that David Dastmalchian got his own movie. Like, and he 100% deserves it, and he knocked it out of the park. Like
Yep.
this was like gripping. This movie, that's a very good word in my opinion for this. This movie was very gripping. Like there were several moments in the movie where I was like holding my breath.
Yeah.
Like you know when a movie gets you when the final scene of the movie happens and like credits are rolling and all you can do is just stare at the screen. Like you're just frozen staring at the screen. Like
Mhm.
that's what happened to me. I don't know if you've got that, but that's how I had this. Like
Well, I have a Shutter subscription, and so I see a lot of content that is very similar to this. So I definitely think that um the supernatural events in there are very similar to a lot of stuff like the VHS series, like a lot of the other stuff they have on Shutter. But I
mhm.
feel that the setting that they did, like a 1970s talk show host, and then like I think the strongest parts of it were the 1970s talk show aspect, because they'll do their segment and then they'll go to break where the camera will switch to black and white and they're doing like behind the scenes stuff, and it's very, very fast. Like the
Mhm.
producer will come up and it'll be like, hey, we got these props coming in for the next set, and we need you to get out there and do this and do that, and like here's like these person's calling from downtown and they like you, kid, they like the stuff you're doing here, your ratings are up right now, and like they're it's very fast paced, and it feels like that's what that would be like. Like that would have been like. Um, but you also have like each of the characters is pretty decently fleshed out, even in this fast paced one.
Yes.
Like you have, like every time the camera turns off and they cut to the black and white and they're doing the behind the scenes stuff, everybody is coming up to the main character, and just voicing their problems, their issues, their concerns, or telling him this and that and that, and that gives you more and more depth into like the side characters. Like one that
Mhm.
I was super focused on was the main producer guy in the Shades, because
Leo.
was it Leo? But the thing about him is that like he didn't care whether this supernatural stuff was real or fake or what was happening. All he was concerned with was that the show was doing well, was that the ratings were up, that people were watching. Like the
Yeah.
possibility was on the table that the devil himself was being conjured on the set of the studio and he could not care less.
Yeah.
All he cared about was like, hey, people are watching this. This is the big bucks here. And I'm
He
just like,
freaking
wow,
he
that's
got money.
like
His
you
eyes turned
really
into
see that.
dollar signs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's that kind of character, and like he played it very well. Like as little as he was on screen, and like I gotta say, I the other thing that I like about this is like the I like while it is a trope that has been used before, I liked the what the like the host of the show is like he's drawing a lot of the attention and everything, and like his co-host is being kind of left behind because of like the main host's ambition kind of thing. Like how throughout the movie that Gus, the co-host, was like,
Well,
"Wait, hold on, like
he
is
wasn't the
there this thing?"
co-host. He was pretty much like a side guy. He was there for the jokes to riff off of, so that he's not like alone out
Yeah,
there.
okay.
He's a side guy. He's not equal on the show to him.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what I thought. I thought of him as that. I get it. Okay. All right. But still, like I like that dynamic because you had this character, like at least one character, because you had kind of both ends of the extremes. Because you had Leo, who was like encouraging all this stuff and everything. You
Hmm.
had the Carmichael guy who was actively trying to debunk everything, and then you had Gus who was like could actually actively concerned about what was unfolding. Like you had the guy that couldn't care, the guy that was caring about like concerning about this, and then the guy that's just like this is all fake anyways, so why do I care, like not like I need to figure out how you did this.
Yeah.
One thing I'd love to find out, and I would want it so bad, I really hope that the watch, there's the scene in the movie where he hypnotizes everyone, and like I really hope that the watch is an actual prop in the sense of like they didn't have to mess around with anything. Like it's just something they created where it looks like a normal watch, and then like it has some mechanism that turns it into like a spinny thing. Like that would be really cool. Like I really hope it. Like I was kind of
I
fixated on that.
I think you're getting your hopes a little too high.
I know, but like it would be cool because I'd want something like that. Because first off, that watch was dope as hell. But I'm getting off topic. Uh,
Yes. Yes, you are.
the practical effects in this movie, I will say, congrats on them for doing practical effects. I
Hmm.
like that even when they didn't do practical effects, like they dialed it back. Like they didn't do new, like because it's set in the 1970s, you need that kind of air of it. Like they did, perfect example. It's like old Ghostbusters CGI,
Well,
like the
yeah,
original
again,
Ghostbusters.
that's very like the level of special effects that a lot of Shudder shows, especially VHS, have. Like, it's it's almost like they came from the same restaurant. The way that they let these two things like taste so similar. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair, I guess.
And
See,
that's not a
I guess
negative
if
thing.
that is the point that
I
we're
like
gonna.
all those
Yeah,
movies. It's just it's a Shudder
yeah,
thing. It's like that company, like a
that's
lot of
fair.
their stuff
Yeah,
has the same like special effects level, and like
yeah.
it looks similar is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's got the
I
same level of that.
yeah.
And that's good cuz I really like the practical effects in that. And
I
that's not a
honestly
negative
like.
in any way.
Okay, fair. I honestly like have this like I had a reaction to this movie. Like this movie just kind of shut me down a bit. Like cuz normally when we're at the movies, like normally when we're going, like we have little jokes and stuff that we say to each other while we're watching movies and stuff like that. Like quiet enough so that way people aren't, we're not disturbing other people's things, but like we have those moments, you know? And
Mhm.
like this movie, I can't remember a time where I I can remember only a couple times in like the early part of the movie that I leaned over to you and said something, and like the rest of it I was just like glued to the screen. Like I couldn't take my eyes away. Like
Yeah, is yeah.
I enjoyed this
The
movie immensely.
the setting and the vibe and the tone of it were all very um encapsulating and
This is not a
and
scary movie, by the way. Like I don't see this as a scary movie, like in the sense of how you think of the term scary. But
no,
this
but I mean
movie
it's
does
definitely under
grab a
the
hold of
it's
you.
the horror genre, but it like it's the intensity, the vibe, the characters, the acting. It just feels gripping and intriguing to watch. Um,
Yeah.
but I think we should start rolling into the ranking
The
rankings
ratings,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let you take
Me
the helm on this.
personally,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I am going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I very much enjoyed this movie. It it like I said, it grabbed me and like it held on to me even after the credits were rolling. Like it took me a minute to catch my breath at the end of this movie. Like
Yeah.
it was it picked a theme and it stuck with it through the whole movie very well. And like even the parts that were confusing made sense in the movie. Like they made sense. Unlike other movies that just put weird random stuff in that just they don't explain it. Like
Yeah.
even
I
like it actually makes sense.
I definitely feel that they did like tie because I hate when they do that when they put all like plot and story and like you concisiveness of a movie to the side and they do only just like a big montage of
Metaphor party.
metaphorical kind of this and that. Oh, it doesn't really dream sequency kind of whatever, and it's like, all right, that's fine, but it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know what's actually happening in like the context or the continuity of the film. You know what I mean? Um, but when
Yeah.
they did that in this, you had first of all you had like clues leading up to it so you can piece it together yourself, and then at the end they brought it full circle so you understood the context of all that metaphorical or dream sequence stuff, so it made sense storyline wise in the end, and props to them because a lot of movies Beau's Afraid don't really do that.
Yeah. Uh Care to share your ranking?
I this was pretty good. It's I can definitely see it having more popularity on Shudder than it will in theaters. It was a nice 7 out of 10 for me. I very much enjoyed it. I liked the '70s vibe and aspect that they were going for. I think they nailed that. I think Dasmanian or what I think David D. We'll call him did
Yeah,
a rock star job. He nailed this role, and I hope to see him get more roles like this in the future.
absolutely. Uh Moving right along then into our fourth movie of the night. Oh my gosh. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. I can't remember. We saw the first one before we started this, right? So we have not covered the first movie on the podcast,
No,
correct?
I don't think so.
We did see it it was in our list for last year, correct?
I think it was in yeah, I think it was on the bottom, like the bad list.
Yeah, I believe it was. I don't think it made mine, but I don't know if it made yours either, but like we did see it last year. But before we get too far into this, I shall read the description. Uh Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger take their fight to the town of Ashdown, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem in their wake. For those of you that are unaware of what Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is, uh, Winnie the Pooh hit public domain, and some dudes decided, fuck it, let's make a Winnie the Pooh slasher movie. They made it. It was very low budget, and like it was bad, but it was fun to watch. Like it was funny, like how bad it was.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was a decent time.
this one, yeah, it was fun to go and like do it, which is how you should go into this one as well. Like, don't expect a masterpiece, but don't take the movie seriously and you'll have a good time. Like, and the movie itself does that too. Like, the movie does not take itself seriously. Like, it does not. Like, even
Mm.
though you might see that it might, but I don't think it does. Like, it tries to, but I don't think it does.
I think this one,
Uh,
first of all, it's a drastic step up from the last one. Last one was just like it was
oh,
goofy
major step
nonsense.
up.
This one it had like plot, which is more than you could say for the last one. Um, but the thing is,
Yeah.
it mirrors the Terrifier series that we love so much. The first one was
Yes.
kind of just made on a shoestring budget for shits and giggles, whatever, a one-off thing. But then it gained so much popularity, and the second one that when they did a second time around, they added in more plot, they added in bigger budgets, they did bigger everything, and better acting and continuity of a storyline forming. I think it wasn't terrible for Winnie the Pooh Blood
No.
and Honey 2. I don't know if you
I'm
saw this,
honestly going
but
to say
I don't
it's good.
Isaac, I don't know if you saw this, but at one point, I don't know if it's true anymore. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 has a 100% tomato meter rating on the critic side.
Wait, like actually hold up. I actually have to look at
Yeah, go
this.
check it right
That's
now.
that's ridiculous. I love that though. I can see why critics would actually like this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is real. That is wow. That is actually kind of insane, and I
Yeah.
love it. That
It's
is
definitely a step up. It's not a perfect movie. It's not like a masterpiece or anything. It's still super silly. Um, but it's like I was surprised how much better it was. Like it was actually like if you completely ignore the fact that it's Winnie the Pooh, like
yeah.
it would actually be a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, like I actually like that it was because they did a lot to like show you that they didn't just make this like well, not let's be clear. They absolutely made the first one solely because they wanted to be the first one to do that.
Yeah,
Like they were like it hit public domain, we want to get there first. We got there first. Like fine. Yes. But like once it gained popularity, they decided, okay, now we actually have to buckle down and make a real story out of this, and they accomplished it too. Like that was the impressive part,
I
and
didn't
like I
think
liked
the
the fact,
story was that bad. It was like a pretty
no,
fairly
it
decent
made
plot for
sense.
a horror movie like this.
Like it actually made sense, and like my other thing that I like about it is I like that they are both simultaneously they make fun of the film, but also show that they do understand the origins of it. One of my favorite ones, and I actually never came back and explained this to you. Uh, the uh, the scene where they have like where like they kill Owl like takes that dude and then like drops his limbs in the river and like you just watch them go under the river. It's actually kind of cool because that's a reference to when they would play Pooh sticks in the Winnie the Pooh stories. Uh, what Pooh sticks was it was a game where everyone got to pick a stick and like they had their stick and they drop it in the water and then they go to the other side of the bridge and whoever's stick came through first wins. And that's kind of what they did there. They were referencing that, and I found that really cool. Like, cause they
Nice.
were they were literally like the bridge they were standing on, like while they were doing that, is like literally looks like a 1-to-1 recreation of the actual bridge they would play that on in the in like the books and the shows. Like it was really cool. I found that really nice. Moving away from how nice it is to sticking to the original source material, let's talk before we get into kills and stuff like that. You want to talk creature design? Like the like major step up in like the design of the characters they had in this?
Yeah,
Because
they
like
got a much bigger budget and they spent a lot of it completely revamping the characters, and it paid off extremely well.
it absolutely 100% did. Like cuz in the other one they look pretty derpy. Like they looked really not great. This one they went all out, like the makeup and the prosthetics and like everything. Like the sheer amount of like makeup on Owl like was really good. I loved everything about Owl's like design, like from every standpoint. Like I liked how kind of like creepy he looked and
His voice was
like the
great.
his voice was amazing. I loved it so much. He had the most speaking out of all of them. Like I think the only person that came close to it was probably Tigger.
It's because Tigger wasn't in the movie for most of it, which is sad, but he did get a super boss killing spree scene at the end. Um,
Oh my god, I love that scene.
and Pooh doesn't talk, and then Piglet gets a fucking shotgun to the head right away in the movie.
Yeah, like they aren't like the characters are in the movie a lot, but at the same time, like they balanced the screen time well. Like they actually gave the characters proper lines and proper speaking things, and like adding on to the story of Christopher Robin was really cool. Like they put in effort and it paid off. Uh
Yeah, I'll say.
the other thing to uh moving away from the movie itself a little bit. I like that they put effort into this because of the thing they showed before the movie where they announced the other 4 movies that they're working on like at the moment that are all going to culminate into like a multiverse that they're building of like
Yeah.
fairy tale characters. Like they have the Peter Pan movie, Pinocchio and Bambi. And then the Pooniverse movie. Oh my god. Like the fact we were losing our shit, but like and I still have to laugh at it, but I'm actively excited for those movies. Like actually.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be fun to go and see. Uh speaking of fun moments, back to the movie. Uh would you like to enlighten the audience to the best part of this movie? Your favorite part of the movie?
Oh yeah, dude. The best part of the movie is when Winnie the Pooh looked into the camera and he said it's Poohin' time.
Yeah, and then he pooed all over those people.
He did poo all over those guys. Wait,
Like,
pause.
oh my, yeah, wait, yeah, hold on, pause.
But like
Like,
you don't understand like how good that joke is though, is because so like not only are they doing so first of all, to make it excruciatingly clear, yes, that does happen in the movie and that's not a joke, but that's why that's so funny is because they're not just jumping on a trend like oh ha 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 it's like Morbin time, it's like everything else, but it's literally like it's so funny that they did that because when you tell people that that happened, they won't believe you. Case in point,
yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah. I was telling this to a coworker of mine today, and he straight up looked at me and said, "I don't believe you. I actively don't." And I'm like, "No, I swear to God, it actually is in the movie. It is the funniest thing." And he's like, "No, you're wrong. There's no way they do that." And like he actively refused to believe that it would be a possibility that it's in this movie. Like I loved that.
And that's why it's a great joke.
It's so self-aware, and I see that scene right there proves to you that they know that they're like they know that they're doing comedy. Like they're not taking themselves too seriously. They're just having fun and making a movie.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I 100% respect these guys for doing this. And like I am excited to see what they're gonna do because this is something that I feel is only going to get better the longer we let them cook.
all right. Moving on to the
Uh,
rankings for this.
all right.
I'm actually going to give it a pretty fair 7 out of 10. I thought it was actually uh like a huge step up from the last one, and you gotta give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely. This is actually my first 7 of the year. Like it actually is. I also give it a 7. Uh this was a very this was a very surprisingly good movie that I just actively loved. And the you could tell that even though, that this is kind of a joke, it they did put heart and soul and effort, like
Boop.
real strong effort into this movie. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
Do we want to move into our coup de grace?
I don't know what that means, but let's move into the
Uh,
last finale here.
yeah. uh,
Snack
moving
Shack.
on to Snack Shack. Yes. So quick rundown of what the this movie is. Uh, Dreaming of striking it rich, inseparable best friends AJ and Moose seize the opportunity to run the local pool's rundown snack shack. However, things take an unexpected turn when they meet Brooke, an effortlessly cool lifeguard who puts their big summer plans and friendship at risk.
Yeah. Now,
Now,
I don't,
we knew nothing about this movie.
first of all, I don't want to say too much about this because I think this movie is best experienced just going into it straight and
Yes,
just not really knowing anything about it and just letting it speak for
absolutely.
itself. Um, but as you were saying, yeah, there wasn't anything for this.
No, nothing. None. Like this flew completely under our radar. Like legitimately, I was the only reason I knew about this movie before you brought it up was because I was looking ahead trying to plan out our movie days and everything, and I just saw it, and I just saw the poster for it, and I'm like,
That's what I saw
that
too.
looks kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. Maybe we'll watch it. And then you were kind of insistent on wanting to watch it, and I'm glad I listened to you. Like, even though we were at the theater till like midnight watching this movie, I I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. You said it, and this perfectly encapsulates it. This is a perfect summer movie.
Yeah, I definitely like the vibe that this movie had, like the summertime snack bar, hot dogs, Coca-Cola, the like that kind of like time and location like is perfect for like the summer fun, two bros hanging out, having fun, getting wacky.
Yeah, and like the fact that like this for reference sake, this was also the longest movie we saw on this day. Like
Hmm.
this was like a full like 15 minutes longer, I'd say, than like almost any other movie we saw today. And like it needed it. Like it did. They did not waste any of their time with this movie. Like they did a perfect job of letting you get to know these characters before they introduce conflict into the story, so you actually feel for all the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Like this I had an amazingly good time going to go see this movie. I would love to go more into detail, but I agree with you when you say that this movie is best experienced, like with knowing as little about it as possible.
Yeah.
Like
The jokes were super funny. The
they were.
sad bits were super sad because unlike a lot of the other movies that we saw that day, they actually gave you a proper amount of time to flesh out the characters and make you care about them. And I hope that they didn't just pick two random guys and make them do this. Like I hope this is like like they're actually like friends in real life and like they have like this bond or something like you know how like
You know what?
what.
Sorry. What I was gonna say is like, you know what? I hope they did. Is something similar to like there was a TV show that I watched. Well, unfortunately, it was a Netflix TV show. But anyway, moving on. They where the goal of the show was that they were going to have these characters form a band, and like they actively looked for people that worked well together as a band. And I hope they did something like this where they just where they put dudes together until they found those two dudes that like meshed so perfectly well.
Yeah.
Like the best case scenario is that they were friends before, but like even at that point, like they I hope that they searched and searched for like dudes that melded so well together that they just had fun. Like
Yeah.
they are friends now. Like they are 100% friends. Like I loved their dynamic in this movie. Like they were perfect friends.
Yeah. It I loved this movie.
I I could not recommend this movie enough to people. Like I actively couldn't. I recommended it to 4 different people at work today. I'm not even kidding.
uh,
I I enjoyed this movie immensely. Please go see it.
all right, so running that one straight through to the rankings, I am giving this a straight up 9. Super funny, super emotional. I love the setting, the time frame, and the characters interacting with each other so much. They couldn't have picked better people to be in this movie. And it and without saying anything, Isaac, I'm definitely adding a new snack to my diet from now on.
What? Oh, okay.
He knows. He
I
knows.
think I'm reading you. I think I'm reading you. Yeah.
Man,
Oh, that's funny. Oh my
this is
god,
definitely something that I'm
this
gonna
movie.
have to own.
But like as people know, like the way we kind of do rankings here is like a five. Like we don't go. A movie starts at a 0 and goes up from there. Like a movie will start at a 5 and it'll go up or down depending on how like well it does. Like because a
Yeah.
5 is a perfectly mid movie. Like there's nothing great, there's nothing bad. It just exists. This movie I went in at the 5. It immediately shot up to like a 7 within the first like 10 minutes of the movie. Just for the like the brotherly like friendship that these characters had. And it kept climbing, and like I struggled with it for a little bit, like around like the 3/4 point of the movie. I was struggling on where to put this because I already knew I was going to give this movie at least a 9, but on as it went on and as the rest of the story fleshed out, I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10. I loved this
Really?
movie so immensely. I loved this movie so immensely. I didn't even give Ordinary Angels a 10. Like I still gave that movie a 9. It was a high 9, but it wasn't a 10. Like this movie, I loved this movie so immensely. So immensely. This was such a good movie, and I cannot recommend it enough to anyone who would want to go watch it.
Wow.
I loved this movie so very much. Oh,
All right.
this was very good.
I think that'll do her.
It was a perfect ending to like a 5-day movie day. A
Nice.
5 movie day, I meant to say. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
that is all for this
All
time,
right.
though.
That will wrap us up with our movies. Next up, we have quite a bit. I believe by the time we hit theaters next, we will have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Godzilla X Kong, and Monkey Man.
Excited for all 3 of those.
Yeah, it seems like we're gonna have like because a lot of these
We're
will
gonna
have
be
like two.
eating
We'll have
good,
two
boy.
big. A lot of these will have like one or two like big movies, and then like one or two like kind of no one cares or has even heard about these movies. The next one is all gonna be like mainstream, like big blockbuster stuff, you know. And I'm
Yeah,
excited for it. I'm here for it.
absolutely. Uh, but I think that wraps us up for today.
It should.
Uh, yeah,
Be sure to subscribe, guys. Be sure to check us out on Letterboxd at Cinema Kellan and Regular Isaac. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap. Roll credits.